Okay, welcome everyone to this month's webinar with Ask the Answer. I've got the absolute pleasure of having one of our psychic mediums, Sherry, with us today. Sherry, hello, how are you?
Hi, Becca. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So today, obviously, everyone, we are talking with Sherry about how to live your best intuitive life. I'm really looking forward to this session. I've got my notepad on the side ready to note some things down. But we're going to dive straight in, really, into the questions that we've got lined up for Sherry today. If anyone that is watching does want to ask a question, feel free to comment on the video. And at the end, we'll try and get round to as many of you as possible. But Sherry, let's go straight in. So, like me, and for anyone else who's potentially new to intuitive or psychic development, how would you describe what it means to live your best intuitive life?
Well, for me, living an intuitive life means honoring your inner compass and allowing that inner compass to guide your choices, your relationships, your rhythms. And instead of relying just on logic and fear alone, it's an outside authority. To me, that is a practice that I trust and pay attention to the inner signals in my body, the body sensations, the emotions, shifts in energy, gut feelings,
Mhm.
even dreams and daydreams, Becca, believe it or not, as well as subtle nudges. So to me, in a nutshell, that's in a quick nutshell, that's
Yeah,
living intuitively for me. And
love.
many doubt it. Many doubt it because of modern life conditions. We are conditioned a certain way, and
Yeah.
it moves us away from intuition, right? So it's often um, overridden and misunderstood. So
Mhm.
and even punished in some
Yeah.
cases, right?
Yeah, I was going to say some people they do doubt their intuition and struggle maybe to trust it at
Right.
times.
And I've also I want to go into a little bit in as we build on this question on early conditioning, how we were taught, some of us, to not trust ourselves.
Mm,
Hey, that's not logical. Oh, you're just imagining things. Don't be so sensitive. So a lot
yeah.
of these things were over time we were kind of, our nervous system defers to authority. So logic and approval over inner knowing becomes the main, right? And
Mhm.
intuition then becomes associated with being wrong. So
Yeah.
that has a big impact, our early conditioning. As well as, I want to go to the next thing, which is fears.
Mm,
Fears and how they speak loudly sometimes, just like anxiety and trauma responses. And for intuition, we have to be in a very like calm, neutral state to be able to feel into it, like
mhm.
literally into it, INTUIT, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the other blocks and people could doubt these things is because of the disconnection from their body and trauma. There's a list more, and lack of education. People internalize this doubt over time, and self-trust and the nervous system don't feel safe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's intuition is not about just psychic powers, but it's about embodied presence in the body.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we're going to touch on a lot more of that shortly. But to go on to the next part of what our session is going to be focusing on is you talk about the six clairs. So I don't
Yes.
know if you want to go into a little bit of explaining what they are and why it's helpful to understand them.
Oh, I'd love to. So the Claire's language is basically we're all doing it. We all have it. It's always done intuitively. Think of it as your intuition, how our intuition speaks to us, right? It's almost the physical senses mirroring our inner senses. That's how I look at the clairs. And the first one is claircognizance. So that's clear knowing. It's just, that feeling when you just know what you know and you don't know how.
Yeah.
That's when people often get instant clarity, instant downloads. Some people call it in uploads,
Yeah.
transmissions, right? People often are challenged by this because there's no evidence.
Yeah.
So that's claircognizance. The next one is clairalience that I want to talk about, and that is clear smelling. And that's when there's sense with no physical source. It just kind of it's tied to memories and spirit. And some common signs involve smelling flowers. I've heard it from people. I myself have experienced that. Sometimes smoke, and they suddenly come on out of nowhere, and there's no source, right? So
Yeah.
that clear smelling allows you to tune into a certain memory. You
Mm-hmm.
know, for me, there was when my father passed away, I recall being in my apartment every night at 8:30, and I was on the corner apartment,
Yeah.
and there was nobody, around me or above me that smoked. So I would smell his, because my father used to smoke,
Yeah.
and I would smell his cigarettes, and I said, Dad, that must be you checking on me. So I
Yeah.
felt so divinely protected and guided, So
Yeah.
that's what some of us have that strong
Totally.
sense. The
Yeah.
next one is Clairgustance, and that's clear taste, right? Same thing with the smell.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sudden taste in your mouth that you can get with no food around, right? And it's also can be linked to symbolic. Some people will get a vision, oh, I'm seeing hamburgers, or and an emotion is linked to this sometimes. And I've gotten a lot of it personally in my own experiences, and some from of my students and clients that work with me. They have reported metallic taste in their mouth,
Mm-hmm.
appearing out of nowhere. And again, this is often overlooked because it's some people will just play it off as imagination, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So the next one is clairsentience, and that's clear feeling, right? And this is emotional or physical sensations that are not our own. Sometimes you can feel people's energy, their gut
Mhm.
feelings. Some of us absorb people's moods and energy. Since I was a little girl, I used to know what type of mood my mom was in. I would know when to stay away,
Yeah.
or be, when she was approachable. So I kind of activated that feeling, this sense for a long time. And some of us can feel drained, and they think it's their own drain, right? It's not. It could be the person next to you who could be going through illness or death, or grieving of some sort, and you pick up on that, and then you kind of mistaken that as your own. So that you just it's a gift that allows you to feel someone's state without
Yeah.
any words,
Yeah.
right? Next, clairaudience. That's clear hearing, and that's a calm voice, an inner guidance that sometimes comes through for myself, and different people describe it as words, phrases, a symbol. It's not an intrusive thing. This is sometimes it's louder when people are meditating, they're on their nature walks,
Mhm.
sometimes in their dreams. And some common signs that I do get repeatedly is through songs. I
Okay.
notice a certain song would come,
Yeah.
especially during retrogrades. I would be reminiscent, or around my dad's birthday or
Mhm.
holidays. I notice he communicates through songs that he used to play when I was growing up as a
Yeah.
kid. So the challenging part of this sense is people can say, "Oh, you're just making that up,"
Mhm. Yeah.
like any sense, I guess. But I noticed that a lot more with that clairaudience. So the next one we have is clairvoyance, and that's seeing mental images and symbols, flashes. It's a sense that has you feeling a strong imagination that
Mhm.
turns out to be pretty accurate,
Yeah.
right? Clairvoyance. It's visual messages in dreams, daydreams, again in meditation, and some people will dismiss this as fantasy, and some people like clairvoyance, they actually have it so strong that they're able to predict an outcome,
Yeah.
very easily. And I'll discuss more.
Yeah.
Those are the six, but I'll discuss more on my one-on-one sessions, or my if we have a webinar here one
Yeah.
day.
We can
I
dig
do talk
dive.
about some that are not really as used, but they're common, like clear
Cool.
empathy, right? People that have deep emotional attunement, they can pick up
Mhm.
other people's feelings,
Yeah.
and know what they're going through, their pain.
Yeah.
Another one is called clairagency. It's also known as psychometry, which is I can take an object, and I train you guys how to tune into that,
Ah,
and
okay.
it brings an impression or images or messages,
Yeah.
because everything has energy.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
oh, that's
So
what I've not heard of before. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so
that sounds good. Thank you for giving us the overview.
pleasure.
The follow-up question was going to be, do people maybe have a more dominant Claire over others, or is it like everyone normally experiences more than one?
That's a great question, Becca. Yes, everyone definitely has a dominant Claire, either one or usually two, is what I, from my own experience, right? With studying and learning about different people and interviewing them. Intuition is not fixed. Again, it can elevate and it evolves with safety and trust in oneself. And some people will activate different clairs later on during a path of spiritual journey. Like, you know, most of us use it all our lives, but for example, in my spiritual awakening and how spirit led me to doing this type of work, for instance, the psychic readings, the mediumship, and so forth. Like all of this evolved because I was healing, right? And then you know, some type of practice, they kind of develop on its own. So people who actually don't think they're intuitive are the most intuitive.
Yeah, that's it. But it's just, I guess, about actually realizing that and wanting to embrace it and learn how you can develop that more. So,
Indeed.
how maybe, obviously, people can have a session with you to do this, but how can someone actually begin to identify which clairs are strongest for them?
It's more about remembering who they are, right?
Okay.
And because when you remember who you are, you start to naturally remember how you perceive,
Mhm.
right? And you look at information and you how does it arrive before you think? You ask yourself, when I know something, how does it usually show up first, right? Not
Yeah.
after analyzing the doubting, but in that initial moment,
Yeah.
right? And you start to also notice when you were a child. You know, when you're a child, you usually are using your dominant Claire. Did
Mm.
you say, I just know a lot? Like, did you hear a lot of sounds? Did you hear words? Did you see like visions? Like a lot of this is in early childhood, right?
Ah, okay, yeah. So maybe having that think back to what can you remember from those, yeah, early stages in life, and do you still have them now, I guess?
Yes, and another thing that I notice is how we observe people under stress. You know,
Mm,
claircognizant people, for example, they become blunt or detached.
okay.
Clairsentience, they feel overwhelmed or drained. Clairaudience start to get mental noise. Clairvoyance over imagine or they daydream. That's me. That's one of my strong ones. You know, and the stress, when people are under stress, it exaggerates their dominant channel. So observe
Mm.
that within yourself and let me know how that goes, right? So
Oh, yeah, that's a good
the one that feels obvious is usually it, right?
one.
But
Okay.
people are going to dismiss this because they'll say, oh, doesn't everyone do that or have that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the clue right there. You recognize it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And I suppose, yeah, it's looking at actually, yeah, you're not realizing at all you've already got it. So people watching, have a think about what that could be. So going into, I guess, a bit more of that confidence side of it and self-trusting, once someone does recognize their intuitive strengths and their clairs, how can they start to feel more confident in using them?
Well, as long as they don't label it, right, and they trust the consistency, because again it goes back to the programming society rewards, you know, at a young age where we're
Mm.
discouraged and we're taught to value proof, data, and logic. So one way is to remind ourselves that our clairs are built into everyday human functioning, right? So everyone, you know, has them and uses them in ordinary ways, right? So they assume they're just thinking, but or feeling, but that not realizing that's actually an intuitive perception,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
it's
Got it.
it's it's a nervous system experience. And
Yeah.
so if the person is doubting and tense and rushing, it's not going to be clear at all, right? But being still and noticing and not feeling that they can, you know, allow it to be true without proving it, over
Yeah.
time, one can start to see the pattern, the recognition, and see undeniable consistency. And that's when the trust starts to replace the doubt. That's just like
Yeah.
me doing readings day in and day out. Like I started to see results. People came back, oh, you were accurate, this happened, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
You start to trust it.
Yeah.
And I practiced on my own for the most part. Like I
Yeah.
asked my own personal questions.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose, yeah, like starting off, if obviously people did want to actually venture into doing a career like yourself, it's about kind of practicing that in your situations, seeing where it goes, and yeah, like you say, building that trust. Are there any common fears or blocks potentially that people, like you've heard a lot of, that people use? Like maybe you can give people some examples of what they might not understand is actually them blocking or having that fear of what they're getting.
Yeah, there's a fear of responsibility. If they're afraid to take accountability. Like, what if I see this for this person?
Mm,
That could be like a level of integrity that causes overwhelm, right?
yeah.
That's one. Another that I can think of is perfectionism, like fear of
Yeah.
failing, like in the public, right? That could actually block and stunt your growth, right?
Mhm.
So, it's important to let that go, that whole perfectionism thing, because none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
So another one is disconnection from the body, because the clairs creative gifts come through sensation in our bodies. So if you're
Yeah.
disassociated or constantly distracted, you're going to lose access to the subtle guidance that's within you.
Right. Yeah.
Um, there's
Yeah. No,
also, oh, sorry, go for it.
okay. No, so you got some more. Please feel free to share.
I'm sorry, I don't want to lose it. So the next one is like fear of being seen. Like
Okay.
visibility could trigger fear of judgment and criticism, right? And being misunderstood or standing out,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people are afraid of being mislabeled, so they keep their gifts hidden or underdeveloped. And for a
Mm,
long time, that was me hiding behind the scenes as I was developing. I just worked through those fears on my own by practicing, by
yeah.
doing, by showing up every day, and that's how it naturally just gave me that natural confidence, from the inside out. And then also a lot of us experience fear of being wrong, right? This fear alone silences your intuition and doesn't allow that creative expression to come through.
Mm.
And sorry, I have a few more I want to talk about.
No, that's okay. Keep
um Early shaming and invalidation, right? Those things aren't real. You just
going.
have
Mm.
a hyper imagination. You're just hyper vigilant, right? Like it just, it's like, for example, in the Philippines in the second grade, so if people would be called typhus today here in America if they were to hear this, but I remember I got in trouble all the time for talking too much.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to go stand outside and stand like this. So it was right there, right? It was the shaming that
Yeah.
made me, and then it also, I think I forgot, maybe kindergarten, I was nominated most talkative. So we already know what we're here to do, right? I'm here to
Yeah.
speak and talk to people and share. And that
That's your
was, as a kid, that was so repressed for a long time,
Yeah. It's
you
actually
know?
what you're here for and what you're meant to be and to be doing, and which you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, for our people watching, again, that's like another kind of early experience of what you were put through. Again, how is that linking to today's day of what's going on in your brain and when you're going on to try and connect with those intuitive thoughts? So going into everyday life then, I guess, Sherry, how
Mhm.
can people begin to bring that intuition to everyday life? So maybe they're not just doing it from a spiritual moment, for example.
Well, it's more like taking your own personal, like, schedule, right, or
Hmm.
choices, taking it into your practical life and
Yeah.
asking questions like, I want, what should I eat today? Have go to the supermarket, with no list, and allow your intuition to guide you, right?
Mm.
And I think without judging it, without overthinking it, right?
Yeah.
Without analyzing it. And that could go the same way for, start testing things without having to feel you need to have the right answer. Like, for
Mhm.
example, you feel resonant to call someone, like they might need your ear, they might need to hear your voice. Like, do it. Like,
Yeah.
not saying to act on impulse, but like tune into it first,
Yeah.
right? Does
Think
that make
about it.
sense?
Yeah. Kind of like listen to it, take it on, and then if it does feel right, take action on it. Yeah.
Right. And again, it's intuition is somatic. We have to feel it in the body, and it
Mm.
arrives through the nervous system before the mind can even interpret it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on to, I guess, from following from that, in what ways can intuitive gifts maybe used to help others and or make a positive impact? It could be maybe in work, or like you say, someone needs a lending ear. What
Oh
kind
yeah.
of from
That's a
there?
great question too. Well, for me, intuitive gifts are more powerful when they're grounded, ethical, and they're relational, and they're used to support others, and giving them some clarity and healing,
Hmm.
and a place of from a place of empowerment rather than just prediction or control.
Yeah.
Because I don't, when I tell my reader, my clients, that I'm not a fortune cookie teller. I'm not here to predict your future. I'm here to show you your blocks that are preventing you from manifesting your desires,
Mm.
right? So another thing with how this your gifts can create impact is you become a boundary advocate for people. You protect the vulnerable. You help them use boundaries energetically and in the physical,
Yeah.
and hence you help them improve relational dynamics where people don't have filters, people don't have boundaries, they just say everything,
Yeah.
right? And I kind of teach you how to do that as well.
Yeah.
Also, intuitive coaching and mentoring, just as
Yeah.
we kind of do that here.
Yeah.
You help to facilitate, and you give people faster clarity and less overwhelm. So that's beautiful for me.
Yeah.
Another thing that comes to mind is crisis awareness, right? Intuition is about being useful in humane ways. And when it's
Mm.
grounded in compassion and responsibility, it becomes service. So
Yeah.
that's, to me, that means the world. And also emotional healing, where you
Hmm.
sense when someone needs your, like I said, oh, I feel like my mom needs me, so
Yeah.
you just give her a ring, right? You
Yeah.
start to create safety, and just from your presence alone, people feel seen and heard and regulated, without even knowing why. They just feel good when you're around them, and I know you
Yeah.
feel that with certain people when you're around them, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely.
So, and another important impact that I believe is how you support decision, people with decision making without telling them what to do, right? You have to learn how to trust yourself first so that you could trust your own inner guidance to guide other people to trust
Yeah.
their own intuition.
Yeah.
And today, as you look around there, you could create expression, you could be a content creator, you could have fun, like you can, intuition can fuel you into teaching what you know, into healing, working the nervous system, right? I also do energetic healing and
Yeah.
sound healing and shamanic reiki. Like I tend to do a few things to help regulate the nervous system, which
Mm.
again is the key, is the base to be
Yeah.
able to listen to your inner compass.
Yeah. Yeah, about getting that base. And I guess just having fun with it as well, right?
Yes,
Putting it into
yes.
practice. Like you say, going to the shop and let's see what happens and things like that. So yeah, no, that's a really good points there, Sherry. So thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. So going into a bit more, I guess, the practical guidance side, is there any simple daily practices that people could start with to strengthen their intuition? What would you say this was their first time looking at that? What would you advise them first to do?
Well, one, just being curious and allowing, like go in nature, it tunes you into your inner child, right?
Mm.
And the inner child is free. The inner
Yeah.
child is, that's where joy is so natural. It's a state of being, right?
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to connect to, like, oh, look at that bird. Oh, like pay attention to where that is guiding you on your walk. or if you're looking for something, don't stress out. Ask intuition to guide you, right? And
Yeah.
some simple daily practices that I suggest is tuning into nature, one, going for walks without your device,
Yeah.
daily journaling, I'm sure you've heard of that. Visualization, doing like digital boards or vision
Yeah.
boards.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, everyday grounding is a non-negotiable, breath work,
Mhm.
meditation, yoga, that could look different for everyone. Not everybody has to be sitting still, but at least out of their minds and more into the body, right? So
Yeah.
that way you could start to listen to the internal nudges.
Yeah, that's good. And kind of, yeah, I guess like fitting their lifestyle and what works for them specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, I feel like there's some good starting points there, especially if nobody knows where to start. Give those a go. So we are sort of coming to near the end, but Sherry has a lovely surprise for everyone who is watching this webinar. And what you can do is obviously call up Sherry on Ask the Answer she'll help you get started and kind of train you on getting to where you want to be with your intuitive life. So for as an example today, she's going to do one of the many exercises that she'd do in her sessions. So she's going to do it live on the session now. So what I'm going to do, Sherry, is I'm going to hide myself. So you've got the screen to yourself. And yeah, please go for it. And I will pop back once you've done. So over to
Sure.
you.
So I just want to share that this human pendulum experience is an exercise. It's one of the simplest and the safest and the most reliable way to develop your intuition. And we do it in my classes. And because it uses your body's natural micro movements rather than imagination, it's especially good if you're empathic or somatic. So you're going to stand up with, make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Let me just put myself up there. Your feet are shoulder width apart. It's just a clear grounding exercise, and it's going to help us, gain some clarity and differentiate between anxiety and imagination. It's going to help you develop and build bodily trust, right? So you're going to ground your feet, and you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, and then exhale through the mouth. Before you exhale, hold that for about 3 to 5 seconds. 2 more times. Inhale slow. Ground the energy in the body. Exhale through the mouth. Last one, deeper the breath. Inhale. Feel your feet connect to the floor and your shoulders are dropped and relaxed. Close your eyes and hands to your heart, left over right. Right over left. And you're going to say out loud or to yourself, I am grounded, present, and receiving clear information. And you're going to stand still, and with your eyes closed, hands to your heart, you're going to use your body to show you a yes. So close your eyes, Becca and the audience, whoever's participating, and ask Spirit to show you a yes. And observe which way your body swings. Show me a yes. So mine went slightly kind of forward. And then you're going to go back to neutral. That's your yes. I'll give you another second to see, as long as, in case you didn't get it. For some people, it could be backwards, right? Some people, it could be a circle, a sway. So just pay attention to the body. Close your eyes again. And now we're going to ask Spirit to show us a no. Show me a no. So mine went backwards. Yours could be different. Pay attention. Okay, now that we know our yes and our no, right, we're going to test it. And you're going to ask some truths. First one, you're going to ask out loud and to yourself. Breathe in with conviction and say, my name is Sherry, and then see which way it goes. The human pendulum. My name is Sherry. So I feel forward for mine. And then say your address. I live on 22 Robert Court. I live on 22 Robert Court. Mine went forward, and that's the truth. Say 2 plus 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Mine went forward. Then we're going to practice, go back to neutral, and you're going to do some false ones, right? You're going to say a different name. So I'm going to say, my name is Jessica. My name is Jessica. That was pushing me backwards. So it's showing me that that's not true. So you can come back to the screen now and open your eyes and ground your energy back. Now that you know your yes and no, I'd love to hear your feedback. If anything
Yeah,
came
that
through.
was really good. Really strange, actually, but really good. So yeah, for mine, no was forward. And then my yes was kind of like left, but like round almost. Like I felt like I was going like that. So yeah,
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if anyone in the comments wants to share what theirs was as well. But yeah, no, thank you, Sherry. That was really interesting.
My pleasure. I use this for, questions like, is this food supportive for me? Is it for my
Mm,
best and highest good? It's got to be a yes or no question, right?
yeah,
Is my body tired? Should I go to this event? Like
yeah,
things that, you already know, but you just want confirmation because you might feel
yeah,
foggy that day, right?
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I,
oh no,
I
that
enjoy
was
that.
brilliant. That's definitely something I'm going to take with me now after this session. And I'll let you know.
Yay.
I'll report back. Cool. Well, that has all just been absolutely brilliant and really insightful today. So again, thank you, Sherry. I've got a couple last closing questions for you before we do wrap up. So my first one is, for everyone that's been part of this session today, if there is one thing that you want them to take away from today's webinar, what would you like that to be?
That intuition isn't something you have to unlock, right? It's something you learn to trust and use safely, daily and practically, like I said before. And your intuition is already working, right? It's just a matter of listening to it without fear, without
Yeah,
pressure, and without self-doubt. And then everything else starts to become confident and clarity, and you can impact, and growth will happen from that. So
yeah,
I think that's the biggest like encouragement. Like you're not, it's never too late. You're not broken. Your
yeah,
intuition will unfold at the pace of your nervous system can safely hold.
yeah. Brilliant. Oh no, thank you, Sherry. And what's your biggest piece of encouragement for everyone that are wanting to begin their intuitive journey today?
Basically, let curiosity lead instead of pressure. And you're here to remember who you are, to remember who you were before you were told and taught how to be and who to be. And that's enough to begin right there.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh no, well, thank you so much, Sherry. That has been really insightful. I'm really hoping everyone today was taking something away from it, and hopefully we'll let you begin your intuitive journey and see where
Yeah.
it takes you. We've just
Yay.
had a lovely comment. So Julie
Sure.
Ann, she's put, mine was yes, positive swing to right, and no, swing to left. Thank you. So there we go.
Oh,
Hopefully,
interesting.
yeah, you can take that with you, and yeah, keep asking yourself those questions to get that intuitive advice. But I think that's it for now. But like I say, obviously, Sherry, you are on our seance there. They can have a look at your profile. Sherry's pin is 500-640. So Sherry, when are you next scheduled on to be online?
Well, I'll be on today. At
Today?
some point
Lovely.
after
Yeah,
lunch, I'll be on, and I'm happy
amazing.
to, start some intuitive training and fun with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, so yeah, everybody get your session booked in with Sherry. Obviously, yeah, she's here to do readings, but also to help you and teach you to, yeah, live your best intuitive life, as we've called it today. So brilliant. No, Sherry, thank you so much again. This has been brilliant. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. It will be on YouTube to watch afterwards. So if you want to go back or there's anything you missed, feel free to go and watch it. And yeah, I hope everyone has a brilliant rest of their morning, evening, day, wherever you are in the world. And again, always lots of love and light from us, the answer on your intuitive journeys. And thank you so much again, Sherry. Lovely
Thank
seeing
you,
you.
Becca. Like,
Bye.
lovely to see you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.